and another Hot Shop Tips. Well, today this is part of the Bro Shop series in a way where we have this old joiner, and so we're getting back into working condition. And one of the things that you may encounter with a machine that you have, may have purchased that's been standing for a long time, and then you start getting some rust and pitting in places where you don't really expect it. Now, on this machine, we've got a little bit of pitting and rust where the belts were in contact, or I should say not in contact, with the wheel here on the motor. Now, this is the sheave, or I should say the roller, that drives the head of the machine. And what happens now, Brandon, you can probably run this the way it is. Now, there's a small problem that arises until the rust and the pitting wears off the sheave. You're going to have a little excessive wear on the belts. And so, this being a flat belt, they're a little more sensitive to friction, or I should say abrasion in this case, and so they would wear off a little quicker. Now, the question begs itself, should I take this thing off the machine and try to service it or dress it up without too much trouble? Now, one of the things you can do, especially on the sheave that's on the motor still, if it's accessible, is to take a piece of emery cloth and a piece of Scotch-Brite and dress it up that way under its own power. That way, the RPM is already matched to the work environment, so to speak. Because on the lathe, you're probably going to run it at a higher speed, which doesn't really matter. It's 6 one way, half dozen the other. But this way, you're working in the range where the thing should be, and so you're going to get the cut that this thing is going to want. So let me zoom you in here and show you what I'm talking about. This is a 3-phase motor. I'm not sure how many watts it has. I'd have to look it up. There's no nomenclature plate on the motor that I can see, but that's not to say it's not there. It's just probably hidden from view, and so I don't know what kind of how much power it has. Now, when you do this, use extreme caution and don't wear any loose clothing. So I'm going to take this vest off here because I don't want anything getting into that sheave, any corner of the vest or anything like that. Or this arm sleeve is missing a button, so I've got it rolled up already. So you don't want to be wearing any loose clothing when you're doing this. Just out of general practice, and the same thing on any other machinery. When you're working around machinery, no loose clothing, no jewelry, etc. Because you never know what's going to grab you and pull you in. So anyway, with that, enough of the safety nonsense crap. Now let's move on to getting this thing cleaned up. So there you can see it's looking a lot better now. Alrighty then, well, that cleaned up pretty nice. We used some dull old 220 grit emery cloth And for the initial cut, some 120 grit. And again, already used, so because we don't want to take off too much material. We just want to smooth this thing up and get it nice and shiny again so that the rust and the pitting does not abrade the shiv or the belt. And then we cleaned it up here with a little bit of Scotch-Brite pad. And so the wheel looks to be almost new. There's still a little bit of pitting here and there. I'll probably throw a steel in here at the end so you guys can kind of see that. But anyway, yes, you can do this if you're careful enough. Like I say, just use a lot of caution. Don't wear any loose clothing around the machine so that you can get sucked in and get pulled up in there. Because the machine's going to have more power than you. If it has a 2-horse motor, a person only has 1/10 of a horsepower, so that kind of gives you an idea what the ratios are. And I'm sure it can rip you up pretty bad. Maybe break a bone. I don't know if this machine could kill you or not, but if circumstances were right, I wouldn't be surprised. So anyway, that's a wrap for this little episode of Hot Shop Tips. If you have any thoughts, comments, critiques, or suggestions, by all means, put them in the comment section below. A little bit of traffic is always welcome, and it's always nice to get your brain picked a little once in a while from the viewership. And so, like I say, every little bit of traffic does help the channel grow and that kind of thing. So anyway, hope you got a little something out of this episode of Hot Shop Tips, and I hope to see you all again in the next video.